Hi folks, welcome back to a new set of hobby nightmares. Hopefully you're having a good start to your week. I certainly am getting a lot of work done, getting a lot of things done. It's my grandpa's birthday today, so I'll be being bestest chef later and making him something nice for dinner, hopefully, and making sure he's being taken care of. Aside from that, if you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. It would do a huge amount of good for me to see the channel growing, and it is growing, so thank you very much for those of you who've already done so. We are well on our way to 15,000 subscribers, so if you really could help me out, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for all of your help. We are getting there. We are almost there. 15,000 subs by the end of the year. We can do it. We can definitely do it. Let's push and try and get there. If you think my videos can help out anybody in your life, then please make sure you send them over there to make sure that, you know, maybe they can get something out of it. You never know. Let's jump into some hobby nightmares, shall we? First of all, it's Big Daddy Deep Dish. Alright. Okay then. He says, "Hey North, you can call me Big Daddy Deep Dish." I have done, thank you. Only a short one, as me and my missus talk about this every time we walk past or go into our local games workshop. I collect world eaters, blood for the blood god and whatnot. I recently got back into the hobby after getting into a painting rut. I just couldn't be bothered anymore, if I'm being honest. The current manager is a nice enough guy to me, and we have had some good conversations about the hobby and the lore. One day, me and my missus were walking past and decided to go and have a little look inside the shop, which she moaned and said, "Not again." But there we go. There were a few kids sitting with the manager painting some Space Marines on tables, as I guess it was a painting workshop going on or something. I decided to just go in and get a couple of pots of paint just to help out and leave them all to have fun and not interrupt. As me and my missus looked over to see to see the painting they were doing, one kid was painting his base gold and really did a good job on the whole model considering how young he was. Ahaha. Before we carry on, that is a trick I used to do all of the time. I would have the kids come in and make them do metallic colours, and then we put ink over it and then we dry brush it, and it looked like it was like professionally done. Obviously you know how little effort is put into something like that, and you know, even as a hobbyist, any hobbyist can look at it and go, "All you've done is inked it and dry brushed it," but their parents don't know that. They're like, "Oh my god, my son's amazing," and you know, "Oh, my daughter's amazing, let me buy some more models," and they buy more models, and it's great. Anyway, moving on. Well, as he started to paint his base gold, which I also do for my army, the manager walked over and wiped his paint off the base and said, "No, we don't do that," in a condescending tone. What? I was kind of angry he did that, as everybody knows they can paint how they want. Everybody has unique styles, and it will help his creativity grow. My missus was livid, to say the least. Normally, I like her fiery temper, but now was not the time. We've all been there. We've all been there. Calm down, you woman. We walked out without buying anything before she kicked off a fuss. Just wondering if you thought we were the arseholes for being so angry at the situation. The way we both see it, you need to nurture the creativity and not destroy it. That could have put a little lad off of the hobby entirely, and also embarrassed him in front of the other kids. I keep thinking maybe I should have told him I paint mine gold too. I regret not doing so, but I guess hindsight is 20/20. Thank you for reading if you do. I love your channel. I've been watching since the Titan Guy video. Oh my god, that was ages ago. Love you a long time and appreciate all the help and advice you give. No, I don't think you were assholes at all. No, I think you did a really good job of keeping stum there. Manager shouldn't be doing that. He shouldn't be going over to a kid and saying we don't use that paint, unless he's already told them not to use the gold. But I don't know why he would do that. Now, gold is more expensive as a paint, you know, as a pigment. But to be honest, a kind of Retributor armor, no one cares. Literally no one cares. It costs like £1 more than the regular one, right? No one gives a shit. It's fine, you know? I don't know. Seems a bit harsh to me. I don't know why he's done that, I'd love more context to figure out why the manager made that decision. But there we go. Moving on. Yancey says, "Hello again, Mad Dog North." Thank you very much. I've never felt more like I was in a gang. Thank you. "I hope the week is treating you well so far. Thank you as always for continuing to pump out great hobby content to help me traverse that daily corporate stress. I wanted to write into you again after experiencing a nightmare just the other day." Ooh, I like regular ones. I like recent ones. "Before I begin, however, let me provide a little context. Recently, I've been preparing to attend the Las Vegas Open's Horus Heresy narrative event with a new army. I try to make it out to these events when I can. This one in particular usually has a pretty good community, and in the past has been an absolute blast. For this upcoming event, I've been putting together a Black Shields Wordbearer army." Okay, oh, I like that idea. I like that idea. I think I also had that idea. Back in the day, my Horus Heresy army was going to be loyalist Wordbearers who are from Monarchia. And so they've got every reason to hate the Imperium, but they don't. You know what I mean? That'd be a really, really cool idea. "I'm still trying to work out the details." Oh, by the way, my Wordbearers were like insane close combat specialists, which is why they didn't really fit in with the rest of the Wordbearers and were sent off on their own quite a lot. Anyway. "I'm still trying to work out the details of the lore for my faction. So far, the idea is that an armoured company of the Wordbearers craved so much selfish power, they've lost themselves to demonhood." Oh my god. You've gone way the other side of the spectrum. "The idea is they've become slaves to Vashtor and the Soul Forge. I'm representing this by running as many corrupted and demon units as I can, while still maintaining the tank/war machine vibe. Think Iron Warriors, if they actually got along with Chaos. My army still fights with the Wordbearers and for Horus, but they've lost all heraldry and previous ties to their Legion pride. They are essentially demon tech thralls." I love that, dude. What an amazing idea. What an amazing idea. That's great. Well done, man. That's really good creativity. I love that idea. The first model, it's an elegant idea. That's what I like. I always say, when things fit in together, dude, even them removing all of the Legion iconography, they're more machine-like now. They're a part of one whole. That's incredible. Well done, man. The first model I've been able to finish off for this army is a traitor Quaestorus Knight that I'm running as a demon engine ally. I put a ton of time and effort into this model, as the Knight is the centerpiece of the army. Excited to show him off and get some practice in for the upcoming heresy narrative, I drove down to my local Games Workshop. It was a Saturday and the store was packed. To kill time, I wandered around the shop and checked out the different boxes that had come out, with some chimp at the painting table who we'll call Buttcrack Bill started talking to me. To describe Buttcrack Bill, think current day Val Kilmer mixed with Whoopi Goldberg and dressed like a hipster. Oh, Jesus. Oh my god, that's an image. The conversation started with Bill asking me who I am, followed by what armies I play. I told him at the moment I primarily play Horus Heresy. With the World Eater, I was cut off. "World Eaters," Bill said, loudly, high-pitched, offended, voice cracking. "World Eaters are a legion for cowards and morons who lack basic tactical awareness on the field of play. So which are you?" I laughed and said, "I just like my army, man. I feel that Angron is one of the better written characters, and I like tragic stories, and I find them more." I was cut off again. In a confident tone, "Both coward and moron, I see. Okay, I never try to advocate for violence, you know. I think when you said Wordbearer before, you meant World Eater, so I'm going to let you off on that one. So you meant World Eater rather than Wordbearer. Fair enough. Okay. I never, ever, ever advocate for violence, but this guy would be getting a slap. You know what I mean? I just... No, man. Certain people are beyond redemption. Now, I didn't get the impression Bill had any mental illness. That's where I was leaning. which is what that was the thing that was holding me back from being like, dude, screw this guy. Pour a pot of paint over his head. I'm pretty sure he was just a dick. I'm not a violent person. I've been choked unconscious enough times in one of my other hobbies to know not to go picking fights with willy-nilly strangers, but I also don't like to be talked to like that. So I tried to respond with a lukewarm, "Hey bud, be careful, we wouldn't want you to lose teeth." Here's the thing with martial artists and people who do martial art hobbies. They don't like fighting. Because they know what it feels like to be choked out. And not a lot of things scare martial arts people in terms of social stresses and things like that. Because, you know, what's more scary? This really big guy who's actually trying to choke me out, or talking in front of 5 strangers? Or approaching that woman in a bar? Do you know what I mean? Anyway. I replied with a lukewarm, "Hey bud, be careful, we wouldn't want you to lose teeth." Bill goes wide-eyed and stutters out. All I was trying to say was that Angron is a pathetic character. In The Night of the Wolf, Lehman Russ tries to calm Angron, who, being the dumb brute he is, assaults Russ. Space Wolves player. Go figure. Angron and his legion then get destroyed by the wolves' unmatched prowess, and Angron on his knees begs for mercy from his greater brother. Why would anybody want to play an army like that? I said, "Listen, I've read Betrayer. Russ attacks Angron first. Both legions start fighting. Angron beats Russ, and the World Eaters beat the Space Wolves. Russ encircled Angron with his Terminators and says, 'You can kill me, but my Terminators will kill you.' Angron replies that they kill me, and my legion kills yours. The whole point of the story is to show Angron doesn't want to live and believes he died back on his homeworld with his original men. It's not a Primarch dick measuring contest. You would have understood that if you actually read the book." Bill started turning red and said, "Lemon Russ is the greatest of the Primarchs. He's the only one with the law who's mentioned as being able to go toe-to-toe with the Emperor and win." Oh my god, dude, you need to just walk away. You need to walk away. This guy's Kool-Aid is just walk away. When anyone says they're Primarch and beat Big E, just walk away. Walk away. You can't argue with stupid. You know? To actually argue with somebody, you need to have a brain. This guy doesn't have one. Just walk away. This conversation was interrupted by the Games Workshop manager making his way across the store to greet me. Annoyed and happy to ignore Bill at this point, I turned my back to him and started talking to the manager, who we'll call Nick. This Games Workshop has seen many managers over the years, and I'm happy to say Nick is one of the better ones. Nick knew I'd been working on my Chaos Knight and asked if I had any pictures. I told him I could do one better, and pulled the model out of my case. Nick began to give me props, when fucking Buckcrack, who somehow stealthily with his 300 pounds managed to walk up behind me, yells in my ear, "Wow, please, this is what all the fuss is about? This model is amateurish at best." Bill continues, "I am a commissioned painter, so I know a thing or two about what models qualify as good, and this is average, second rate even." Bill then quickly reaches up to grab my model without asking, and ends up accidentally slapping this knight that I put hours of work into across the manager's cashier counter, snapping off the large converted spikes I added onto its back. This is where he goes through a window. I'm sorry. I don't like saying things like this because it's so like fake tough guy, you know, to say it. But mate, no, I would absolutely lose my shit at this point. I'm not proud of it. Like I would have absolutely blown a gasket here and gotten physical. If somebody been that much of a dick to me the entire time, and then destroyed one of my models after insulting me, I'm giving him a slap. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's beyond the pale. Beyond the pale. My fists curled Before anything else could happen, the store associate, Simon, came out of nowhere. He stood between me and Bill and said, "Yancey is the best painter you've ever seen. He's the commissioned painter of this store. He's been featured in White Dwarf. Have you been featured in White Dwarf? Fuck off, Bill." Simon then pointed to the door. Bill looked over across the counter at the manager, Nick, who took a long sip from his coffee cup and said, "What are you looking at me for, Bill? There's the door." Bill then angrily threw his paints and models into a shoebox, pushed open the door, flipped us all off, and then immediately tripped on the curb to the parking lot, shattering the Sigmar dragon he was working on into dust. Bill, embarrassed, scampered off, and I haven't seen him since. I've attached a picture of the Chaos Knight, and fortunately I was able to repair all of the damage. Sorry, it's a little out of focus. Now this is what I want to see. Let's have a look at this, shall we? Always like it when there's model images sent in with the Hobby Nightmare. Let's have a little look. Oh! Whoa! Wow. 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 That model tells a story. And I can give no greater compliment than that. That model right there, that tells a story. That's brilliant. That is sensational. Jeez, man. I think of myself as a slightly above average painter. I've been featured in White Dwarf years ago, but I don't even know if I could qualify for the magazine these days with how crazy some people paint. This, unfortunately, is not the first time I've had someone shit talk my painting to my face or make up stuff about the lore. This was just the most egregious one I've ever come across. Is this becoming more and more common, or am I crazy? Unlucky maybe. What are your thoughts, Elegant Exile? P.S. I bought some Yorkshire Gold. I'm not a big tea drinker. How do you recommend making it? Milk, sugar? Best regards, Yancey. Well, my thoughts. I've given you my thoughts, man. I would have resorted to violence here, and I think you would have done too if somebody didn't step in. Number two, I've complimented the model. Think it's amazing. Number three, is it becoming more common? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know for the simple reason that I stepped away from being so involved in the hobby like that when it started to become more of a thing. Do you know what I mean? I curate very, very, very heavily my hobby groups, right? I only hang around with people I know are going to be worth my time doing the hobby with. And it takes a while for me to warm up to people in that light because hobby takes a long time. It just takes forever to do. And you need to make sure that people that you're surrounding yourself with in this hobby are people who you can actually get along with and have fun with. Don't waste your time on people who don't fit that criteria. Move on, find other people. And I've never been abrupt with anybody, I've never been rude to anybody, but there have been many battles and many painting competitions where I've been around where I politely put somebody in my mind on the blacklist of, yeah, I'm no longer going to be around you, right? That happens all of the time. It was happening so much that in the end, I only go to events and things that I organise myself. So I can curate, you know, who's going to be there, and I'm going to have a really good time of it as well. Looks like you've gone through the same thing. You know, as an adult, your time is precious, man. You need to curate who you do the hobby with. In terms of Yorkshire tea, you make it strong. So what you do is you put the tea bag in, you put one sugar in, you put the milk, you put the water in. You don't put the milk in first, you put the water in. Boiling hot water. Bump. You let it steep there in the mug for about a minute and a half. Then you do not, right, I repeat, do not squeeze the tea bag on the way out. If you squeeze the tea bag as you're pulling it out, then you release all of the bitterness from the tea bag into the tea. You literally very gently push it against the side of your cup and drag it out, right? And then you put it in the bin, obviously. You then get a different spoon, just in case the spoon touched the bin. You get a different spoon. You get some milk. I would say you put the milk in until it's a mellow brown colour. Not dark brown, that's too strong, but a mellow brown colour. Like slightly dark brown. Let it spin it around, stir it, and then hold the spoon so that the water pushes against the spoon. That means that the entire thing is now, you know, thoroughly mixed together. Take the spoon out, enjoy your cup of tea. That's how you make a Yorkshire tea. Right? A lot of British women who are listening, if any of them are listening to this, are currently deciding where to send my marriage proposal, and the men are also probably currently doing the same, because I make a wicked cup of tea. Trust me. Trust me. There's one thing that will get you in with British people, and that's going into detail about how you make a good cup of tea. They just go, oh. Anyway. Dager Fawn says, Hey North, this one is a bit of a stressful story, so forgive me if it brings back any bad memories. One thing I have to ask, how long did it take you to get your love for the hobby back after leaving Games Workshop? Mine has still not returned, and this event happened years ago. It took me like a couple of years, I would say. It took me like a couple of years to get back into it. I will also say I cheated in that I had this channel too. I had a lot of people in the channel like pushing me towards, hey man, do it, get back into the hobby. And eventually I did. So I kind of cheated a little bit, but it took me a couple of years to get over, not to get over it, like I've been over it for a long time. I've read this story already, so, well, at least half of it anyway. I've not read the last little bits of it, but I've not read the crescendo of this story, but even reading the first half of the story did make me relapse a little bit. I felt anxious reading this, so yeah, I agree. Like I don't think anyone really gets over really horrible experiences like that. I think that you just put them to the back of your mind and you move on, you know, and you forgive people. That's the one thing you need to learn to do is forgive people. Now, don't forget, forgiving and forgetting are two completely different things. You should forgive people. Like if somebody hurts you or somebody does stuff to you, listen. It'd be far worse. Imagine being them. Imagine being that person who hurt you. How much of a sad, lonely, self-hating individual do you need to be to hurt somebody else? Willingly. You know? Forgive that person. But don't forget. Do not forget. Because that's worse than anything. Say, look, I forgive you, but I'll never forget. I'll never trust you. I'll never be friends with you, but I forgive you. I forgive you because I'm not letting you poison my mind. I forgive you. I hope everything goes well for you. Goodbye. Right? I forgive you, but I will never forget. This is why you don't stick with cheaters, dudes. Right? Guys, you don't stick with cheaters. I forgive you for cheating, but I'll never forget. Which is why I'll never be with you. I'll never be with you. You know? That's fine. And that's fine. It's a much better way to go about it. It's one thing I got out of meditations. The one big thing I got out of Marcus Aurelius' meditations was forgive. Just don't forget. Don't be made a fool of. Forgive to get it out your brain. Forgive to get the poison out your mind and out your brain. Because you don't deserve it. You're the victim here. You don't deserve it. Forgive them and move on with your life. But don't forget. If they come back into your life, don't forget what they did. I forgave you for that. That doesn't mean I'm going to forget, no. Like, I know you're capable of it. So you are no longer in my inner circle. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Right? Anyway. I'm carrying on, by the way. I was a Games Workshop manager who actually joined from the outside world into what was called the manager pipeline, quote unquote. Essentially, what that is, it's a group of people Games Workshop thinks would make good managers. So you need to be ready at a moment's notice to do your training and become one. It's weird, kind of like being called up to the army just without the boot camp. Anyway, I joined the company and dove in with both feet. The job I was leaving to be there was a dead-end retail job that battered my soul. So working for Games Workshop was really a dream come true. I was given a trainer and we set to work righting my store that was currently in a bit of a state when I arrived. He was with me for a few days as I got used to the role and saw how I interacted with the customers after my crash course in training. He seemed reasonably happy. I got to go to headquarters in Nottingham to meet him before heading to my store, all paid for of course, and met everybody there like I was some sort of prize goose. They really did a great job of making me feel special. But things kind of got weird pretty quickly when I finally ran the store on my own. For the first few weeks of my time there, things were going great. I was having fun, selling models, growing my community, and having people in the store generally having a good time as we saw the numbers start to go up into the green. One day, I noticed that my front door had been kicked in on a Saturday night. Nothing that stopped it working, but I didn't want to leave the store overnight just to have somebody finish the job and rob my store. Fair enough, yeah. So I called the head office and was put through to what was eventually revealed to be the wrong person. No biggie. When eventually I got through to the facilities team, they talked to me like I was a 5-year-old, which was a bit of a shitty thing to do at the end of the day, but hey, maybe they were busy people, so I let it go. Some guy came round and fixed my door the next day, on the Sunday, and all was good with the world. I had 2 days off, and so I went home and never thought about it until I got back to work. My trainer came round for my review before I started work on Wednesday, the first open day of the store for the week. He had a grave face, like thunder, and sat me down at the painting table, and told me to lock the door, since we were there early. I was sure I was going to be fired, but had no idea what for, judging by his mood and face. He told me that people at head office were very upset, quote unquote, that I had called the wrong people, got them confused for another team when they were already so busy, and then had an apparent attitude problem when communicating with the facilities team. I was gobsmacked. To this day, I can put my hand on my heart, North, and tell you that I was totally pleasant and polite with the facilities team the entire time, and anybody that I contacted at HQ. I was nervous even to do it in the first place, so I put my best foot forward and was very, very, very nice. I pleaded my case, but I knew that the person who makes the complaint in companies is often treated as right, quote unquote, no matter if all they say is lies. This was the first time it had happened to me, but I'd seen it happen to others at a distance in other companies. I was so angry and upset, I fought not to let it show, but I could tell my trainer could see how pissed I was. Instead of taking that as an honest reaction to unfair treatment, he decided to tell me that if this was the attitude I had on the phone, which it was not, then I was lucky to even have my job in the first place. This again rocked me a little. What a piece of shit, man. What a piece of shit. I told him honestly. Okay, that's as much as I read up to last night. I couldn't do it anymore, so I had to stop. So let's read. I told him honestly that I had no attitude on the phone. My shock and anger that I was attempting to keep under control to be professional was a result of such petty behaviour by grown adults whose job it was to help me. I think right then and there, he considered me a lost cause. He rolled his eyes and told me to open the store. Yeah, you're done. You're done. You're done. Instead of taking it like a good boy, you snapped back. So yeah, you're done. Your days are numbered. They're gonna haze you now. They're gonna haze you and haze you and haze you and stress you out until you leave. That's what's gonna happen here. But all you were completely fine there. All you did was tell them, look, their job at HQ is to help me, and I'm just flabbergasted that, you know, grown adults have resorted to telling lies about me. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, right? Somebody at head office has had a bad day, right? And they've taken it out on you and started bitching to each other about you for daring to call the wrong department by accident. Okay? And then maybe, I think somebody on the facilities team has gotten the wrong end of the stick of something that you said or something, and they've then corroborated what the previous person has said. Oh, well, they called the wrong place? Oh my god, that's so disgraceful. You know, that kind of a thing? And they bitch to each other at head office. That's made its way to your trainer, and your trainer's now convinced that you're a bad egg. Happens all the time, man. All the time. This is not the first, second, or even third time I've read a story like this. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, he rolled his eyes and told me to open the store. I did so, and he stood over me all day, critiquing everything I was doing, even in front of customers, making many of them feel so uncomfortable that they left the store as I tried to force a smile and get them engaged. He would literally stop my interactions with customers that were going great to tell me how to do something and how he would like it to be done, then tell me to re-engage with the customer who had been standing there awkwardly the entire time watching this happen. This is a member of the public who has not agreed to be a part of any training, standing there red-faced and awkward as they try to figure out what their son meant by devilfish tank. That's literally all they're there for, and all I need to do is show them where the devilfish tanks are. After the third occasion of this interruption happening, I asked the trainer if I could talk to him at my lunch break, and I did. I told him all this that I previously stated here, that it was completely inappropriate to act this way in front of the general public. My trainer told me that I had to stay on my toes when customer facing and just deal with distractions like that. He completely missed the point of what I was saying. I politely told him so, and he told me that this, again, was my phone attitude talking, quote unquote. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, dear me. Oh god. I have no idea what made me do it, but I told him that no one in life had ever had an issue with me, on a phone or otherwise, until I worked for Games Workshop. I guess if I was not already on thin ice, I was now under it. But it felt good to say, yeah, man, you're screwed. You're in the right. I'm not saying you're not in the right. You're in the right. But, like, yeah, that's twice now. That's twice you've confronted them with reality, and I'm not going to like that. You are going to be harassed, dude. You're going to be absolutely... Oh my god. Anyway. As the weeks passed by, I would get regular calls from head office asking me about falling numbers of KPIs, key performance indicators, despite my store being in the green every week. Questions about stock levels and things like that. Another manager once called me to see if I had a Lemon Rust battle tank to give him as a stock exchange so that he could sell it to somebody in the store because he had none left. I agreed, and in the small talk, as I was looking for the tank, I asked him if he ever got those phone calls from head office. He said no, and literally told me not to worry too much, and that they were just hazing me to see if I could stand up to the heat. In my mind, a good company doesn't do stuff like that to its employees. Yeah. The trainer visits happened again and again. The same thing every damn time. A day of stress and constant feeling of dread in my stomach. I noticed my hair was starting to thin at this time, which was also not great, and my sleeping pattern was completely screwed. The final straw came for me when a trainer turned up and asked to look through my safe. Okay. Yeah, out of the blue. He asked to look through my safe. He told me then with a straight face that a few £100 were missing and that my banking was off by that few £100. He told me, and I quote, it didn't look good. Basically accusing me of theft. I was done. We went over every line in my banking book, every receipt from the bank, and it all showed that I was completely fine. The problem was on their end. Still, he treated me like I had somehow gotten away with stealing a few £100 from my own store. I finally snapped. I told him he could consider this my verbal notice to leave, and that I would hand in my written one the following Wednesday. This was on another Sunday. I told him they had treated me appallingly, and that this was without doubt the worst company I had ever worked for. And I'd worked for Tesco's before. I told him about the constant stress, phone calls, visits, borderline harassment, and that I felt forced out of the company and store. It's almost as if someone at head office had made up their mind about me a week into the job and decided to pressure me until I snapped, and they had a reason to fire me. At this stage, no job was better than working here. And no, I was not a fucking thief. I really hated them for that, and I still do. I am not the kind of person, also, who uses the word hate liberally either. My god, I can't blame you, dude. I cannot blame you. I really can't. I asked my parents if I could move in with them and explain the situation fully. They are quite well off, but never gave their kids any help beyond a place to stay, which I adore them for. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. It'll all be in your inheritance. That's good. But they've taught you how to live on your own 2 feet. That's great. That's good parents right there. They said, sure, I could stay in the apartment above their garage until I got on my feet. It took 3 years to get on an even keel mentally again and to find a role in life that I love and pays. I became a blacksmith, of all things. Oh, what? I signed up to a short course one time to get me out of the house. I loved it and was told by my teacher that I had a real talent and started earning my qualifications. I went from designing elaborate gates and fences to, eventually, designing bespoke swords and props for stage, television, and even movies. If you've watched The Last Kingdom, a lot of the swords and other bits in there are mine. I am earning a really good living. I have my own studio smithy and my own apartment, and life is good. When I hammer that anvil, though, I often think of the sneering faces of those who drove me out of the hobby I love. Is it time to let it go? I don't know. But I love the channel, so thank you for listening to me gripe. Thank you. There you go. Okay. That links in quite nicely to what I said at the start. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's time to forgive and not forget, my dude. It is time to forgive. The hobby is too good to lose somebody of your stature and ilk, especially a craftsman such as yourself, right? You're probably sorry, my lips are somehow numb, I don't know why. You will probably meet more clients for your business in the hobby too. We all love armor and weapons and stuff. But the thing is, for your own sanity and peace of mind, you owe them not a moment more of your time. Do you really think people at Games Workshop are sitting there thinking, oh my god, what we did today was awful, oh my god? No, they don't give a shit about you, dude. I had to go to therapy to figure this out. But they don't give a shit about you, and they don't give a shit about me, and what they did to me either. So the best thing for me to do was to forgive them and move on with my life. But I've never forgotten. I've never forgotten. And every time they do something shitty, I call it out on this channel. Every time they do something good too, I also call it out, because I like to be balanced. But I never forgot. I forgave, but I never forgot. Ever. And I never will. If they ever offered me something again, it would be with the proviso of, okay, fine, but here are my long list of demands, and I'd never be able to work there again. You know? And even then, I think even if they acquiesced to all of that stuff, I still wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't work for them. Through private teaching and editing books and essays, and through, YouTube as well, all those things combined, I'm earning more than a studio person does at Games Workshop. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. Totally. Totally, utterly pathetic. So, I have to say no. I would never go back there. I've forgiven them. I've moved on. You know, I don't think about them anymore. I did today because this brought up a lot of painful memories, but I don't think about them anymore because they hurt me once. Fine, and I've now moved on. I don't think about them. I forgave them, and I got on with my life. And I've never once forgotten. I've learned the lessons from that time, but I've never once forgotten how they treated me. I will always keep it in my mind of, listen, any dealings I have with you, or with Games Workshop, will be done with you know, oven gloves on. Right? Literally. I will never let them in again. Not to my brain. They can fuck right off. No. I forgive them. I hold no ill will, but that doesn't mean I'm a mug. I will never let them in again. Even my hobby, right? I don't pay for models. I try not to anyway, right? I will earn as much what's the word? Commission as I can with Composite Games, and then I'll get the odd model that I really want every now and again. You know, I'll get the odd one that I really want. The rest of it goes on prize draw stuff because I don't want to give Games Workshop any money, right? I forgive them, but I don't participate. Look, I'm not doing it anymore, right? That's exactly what I would do if I were you. Forgive them and then buy their models elsewhere, or even get into another game. One-page rules. Buy some of their models. There are loads of really good model places out there where you can get your model fix and not feel like you're giving money to Games Workshop. There are loads, tons. Look online, man. There are tons of games that you could get into. Bolt Action, you know, Napoleonic, anything. There's loads of things out there. Phenomenal games. That's what I would do. Alright? Forgive, but don't forget. Alright. I love you a long time. I will speak to you tomorrow for some more rantage. What is it we're doing tomorrow? Let me have a little look on my schedule here. What is the rant tomorrow? The rant tomorrow is... oh yeah, hobby burnout can ruin your hobby. Do not let it. We'll be going over hobby burnout tomorrow, which is something that I have recently dealt with, so I can't wait to get into that. Love you a long time. I'll speak to you then. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye now.